at all times. At all times of your life, the mind has a tactical advantage over you. Why is that? It knows what you're afraid of. It knows your insecurities. It knows your deep, dark lies. And it starts to push you away from that shit. It pushes you in a direction that is comfortable. The mind controls everything. So what I realized was that when I was growing up and I was 300 pounds and I got all fat and I got all insecure, I realized that my mind kept taking me in this direction. When things got uncomfortable for me, when I was facing my insecurities, when I was facing my fears, my mind said, oh no, we have the tactical advantage. We need to get you, separate you from this feeling over here. Life's all about feelings. We want the happy feeling. We don't want that feeling of this sucks. Why am I here? And you don't have any, so you can't answer those questions, so you leave. I started realizing that if in that moment you can answer those fucked up questions and you are now in charge of your brain versus your brain ruling you, that's where all that stuff comes from. So the 40% rule is all of that. You get to 40%, your brain says, we're done. Let's roll, man. This is starting to get painful. This is uncomfortable. So you sit down. You have to figure out ways, and everybody's different. That's how the book kind of talks about, like we all have these things about, 5 steps to this and 4 steps to this. It's a lot more than that. That's all bullshit. It's a practice that you have to, it's a habit. So if you know that at 40%, I'm feeling pain. At 40%, I'm feeling pain. That's where the 40% rule kicks in. Now it starts. Okay, I'm feeling pain. My mind's saying all this shit to me. It's saying, get out of here, run, flee. The fight or flight kicks in. Okay, we're done. We're not good enough. It starts telling you all these things. You start to believe it because the mind controls all. This is the time where you have to gain control back of your mind. It's okay, let me see if I can go 45%. And once you start giving yourself more and more hope and start realizing, okay, the mind starts to be, okay, what are you doing? We're supposed to be going right and you're going left. You start then controlling your mind. Start finding more in yourself. And then it goes from 40% to a lot further than that. But that's the start of it though. Get to the spot where your mind is saying stop. Wherever that is, you gotta get there first. And then that's when that shit starts to work for you. You gotta control yourself in that moment. That's my happiness, is my reflection on the suffering of my journey.
The next best predictor of lifetime success is conscientiousness. And of the 2 aspects of conscientiousness, say orderliness and industriousness, the better predictor is industriousness. So the question is, well, what can you do about your industriousness? And the answer to that is, well, that's kind of rough too, because there's a strong genetic component. But you can work on micro habits with regards to your conscientiousness. And I think the best micro habits, best thing you can do with regards to your conscientiousness is to set up some aims for yourself, goals that you actually value. So the questions are something like, well, all right, you're going to have to put some effort into your life. And you need to be motivated to do that. And so what are the potential sources of motivation? Well, you could think about them in the big 5 manner. If you're extroverted, you want friends. If you're agreeable, you want an intimate relationship. If you're disagreeable, you want to win competitions. If you're open, you want to engage in creative activity. If you're high neuroticism, you want security. Okay, so those are all sources of potential motivation that you could draw on, that you could tailor to your own, your own personality. And then so maybe you develop a vision of what you would like your life to be, and that associates the goal. Once the goal is established, and then you break down the goal into micro processes that you can implement. The micro processes become rewarding in proportion, in relation to their causal association with the goal, and that tangles in your incentive reward system. We talked about the dopaminergic incentive reward system, and that's the thing that keeps you moving forward. And the way it works is that it works better if it produces positive emotion when it can see you moving towards a valued goal. Okay, well, what's the implication of that? Better have a valued goal, because otherwise you can't get any positive motivation working out. And so the more valuable the goal, in principle, the more the micro processes associated with that goal start to take on a positive charge.
There's also a section of men who just feel alone, like myself, who felt like they have to hold things in, and that they shouldn't share their emotions, that they don't lean on people, and that they should just carry stuff in, and they need to be X, Y, and Z to be like good enough. So there's this like balance of that. And you almost need to learn to, again, like I mentioned, like that, the masculine and the feminine, being able to integrate that. I feel like a real man is confident and comfortable enough to embrace the feminine energy he has in him. If he's emotional, let it out, but also have that masculine side of it. Be like, I'm going to be emotional right now, but I'm still going to go and fuck shit up right now, you know? I'm still going to take charge of what I want with my life. I'm going to work fucking hard and be disciplined, but I'm going to accept that sometimes I'm going to break down. And it's going to be, I'm not saying that women break down, but there's more emotion over there, and allow it to feel it and to ask for help and to lean on people. And being able to balance those two and that like yin and yang, I think that's what's missing personally. And I do, like, on one level, I do feel a sense of responsibility, because the fitness is a big world of men who are, I think, usually get into fitness on some level maybe feeling lost, and they can feel a little bit safe. And I heard a lot of people be like, I can go in the gym and just forget about everything. I'm like, that's great. The gym's an amazing tool for that, but you still need to go back and feel that shit eventually, because it's not going away. A good workout doesn't make the stress at home better now. It's still just buried under that fucking dopamine rush and sick pump you got in your chest, you know? It's still there. So I think just learning to navigate and balance that is super important. And that's where I'm like, okay, I'm someone right now where people look up to. On one level, there's a responsibility for me